Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we get Justice Society World War II coming at us with the brand new DCU movie. And you know what? I really have to say, this is like probably one of the best DCU movies I think I've ever seen in like their entire run.
Yeah, like, I'll say this, anyone who's listened to the show for a while knows that we really look forward to these animated DC movies. And this one right here, I remember seeing the trailer, I'm like, oh, I bet that's going to be cool. I look forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, yeah, you're right. It's one of the best ones to come out. And I have like one little complaint, and we'll get to it near the end. It's not a big deal, but, I'm going to say this is probably somewhere in their top 5 or top 10 for me.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's easily became like a top 10 one. And so, and it's like, it is that kind of one where like, you see like the initial trailer and you're like, okay, cool. World War II looks sweet. Kind of, Wonder Woman's kind of the main star, sort of there with Flash and so on like that. You got some of these other characters and what have you. You're like, oh, it's probably going to be pretty darn cool, But it's one of those ones where it's just like, I think it just like, surprisingly, it's like they put like that extra effort into this one more than I feel some of the other ones, because it seems like you get the DCU ones, you get the ones where it's like they're taking like, the classic story, so they're going to put, more time, more effort, really like smooth it out, really, do this well and so on. Then there's kind of like the ones where I feel like there's like the experimental DCU ones, where they try something and it's either they work or they're okay. You get like either... something pretty cool, or you get like a Batman Ninja, or you get like even like something like this one I felt was kind of like middle of the road, but there was that
Justice
the
League
Bruce,
Fatal 5.
Well, was that the Bruce Timm one where like they all had like the alternative versions of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman?
Oh, Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, Gods and Monsters. You get ones like that where it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, it's different, but kind of that's definitely like in the experimental kind of realm.
Yeah, and this one I feel like it has. I mean, it's kind of experimental because, Justice Society sounds like such a weird... I think this is a couple of things. We'll get into the actual plot in a little while, but I feel like it's a combination of things. Like, I feel like it's... The Justice Society themselves are kind of like... And when you first hear it, you just think, oh, Justice League. I think people who don't know comics, like, that's just another name for the Justice League or something, right? And I don't think maybe there is some other period where like in the comics where she was part of it, but I don't think Wonder Woman ever was a member of the Justice Society. But to help sell it, I get why they threw her on there. You know what I mean? Especially with the World War I movie. Like, okay, so we could throw in World War II now also. And then the idea of Flash going back in time. I mean, this is a little bit of two things. This is them kind of like preparing people for, I think, the Ezra Miller Flash movie, where it's apparently a little based off of Flashpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit of that, and then I think it's also kind of like coasting off of Wonder Woman in that aspect, and hoping to confuse people thinking it's a Justice League movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely think it has all that kind of going with it. I think, Wonder Woman, I think nowadays can be used, because it used to be a time period where, like, Wonder Woman, you couldn't almost have her star in a movie. It was like, oh, she ain't going to be able to sell it and whatnot. You know what I mean? Because Batman was always the go-to for it. Just be like, well, we got this, but, how are we going to sell it? You slap Batman on the cover, people will buy it, But I think nowadays you can slap Wonder Woman on the cover of these things, and she can kind of do what Batman used to do. Like, I'll say this, like, if this movie was probably made 2 years ago, I bet you Batman would have been in there. Wonder Woman might have been there too, but I bet you they would have found a way to, like, put Batman on there. But it's actually kind of surprising. It's like, hey, you pretty much have a Justice League movie that doesn't have to have Batman in it.
Yeah, and it's also... They did a good job. I mean, a lot of these movies... You don't really go in expecting a twist. And when there is a twist, you usually see it coming from a mile away because you know the comics.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually get a couple of twists in here. Like, oh, wow. I'm so glad they didn't advertise that, because that legitimately caught me off guard.
Yeah, there was multiple twists in here where I actually thought it was going a different direction, and then it's like, oh, that's what's going on. Well, that's actually kind of cool, So the fact that, like, they got some good, just, like, straight-up filmmaking, like, surprises coming in here, just really, like, makes it have that extra edge to it where, like, you really do think it's going one direction. And it's kind of like, I mean, I know this gets into, like, sort of spoilers, but, like, when you get to that part where you find Clark Kent back in, like, the olden days, and, he's going by, Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And, it's just like, because Flash, he was literally just, like, hanging out with Clark in Metropolis, fighting Brainiac, and next thing you know, he goes to stop a kryptonite bullet, and then by running towards it, like, he gets shot back in time, but it's like he actually, and the interesting thing is he doesn't go back in time, he goes to an alternate dimension. You know, so it's got multitudes of things going on. But when he finds Clark and the other one, at first it's like, oh shit, dude, did you get warped back here too? Like, what the hell happened? And so on. And then it's like, because I remember I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not that Clark. Then is he kind of like, in the sense, just really old or something like that? Like, and he just doesn't age? Like, it's obviously, because, you know, you're used to Clark, he's still kind of ages. Like, you know, you look like Kingdom Come or something like that. But yeah, and then it's like, oh no, this is where the alternate world starts to kind of appear. It's just he's just in a different timeline.
Now, I guess a quick correction of something I said. I'm on Wikipedia right now, and at some point they have their original lineup, and these are all, you know, Dr. Fate, Hourman, the Spectre, Atom, Flash, Green Lantern, Old Flash, Old Green Lantern. It goes on. There's a lot of other people on here. The three last ones they have on here, or three of the last ones they have on here, are Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So I guess maybe when they're still figuring out their teams back in the late 40s, early 50s, they're like, maybe we will put the Justice League, make them separate from the Justice Society. There's still that time probably figuring it out. Continuity wasn't as important, you know? So I guess so by kind of throwing Superman and Wonder Woman in there, they're not really cheating so much.
Well, it's also that one, too. I know that, like, with Justice League back in the day, like, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman technically weren't a part of it at first. It was because, like, whoa, that's our big sellers. We're not just going to throw them... Like, no, we want the kids to buy each one individually. God forbid they get a comic book that has all the characters in one. They'll be getting a deal. You know, we'll use it for a special occasion. That's the only time that they'll appear in there, you know? So there was, like, that time where it's just like, no, you saved the big heavy hitters for their own books.
Well, even, like, Justice League... the one where the first Justice League where they're fighting Starro on the cover, Batman and Superman are in that, but they actively chose just to keep them off the cover because, like, they're obviously going to sell it. Let's try and get people to read, like, Flash, the new Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. They're trying to do that. So I thought that was kind of interesting, you know. At a time when you think they'd be like, you know, fuck it, no, that's gonna sell. These are the only two that are gonna sell. They're just like, no, just let's try and give the others a chance, you know. So. Like Martian Manhunter, who the fuck is that? You know, so you know because he dates back all the way to Detective Comics. He's in like so, but this going back to this movie though, I think that this right here, this was one that legitimately caught me off guard. I figured it'd be good, but I wasn't expecting to be at like because it's almost three different movies in one. It starts off as like a kind of like something in the vein of like The Dirty Dozen and like Where Eagles Dare, then becomes kind of like U571 for a second, and then like one of those kind of like pulpy, like in the center of the earth, but not really the center of the earth, but kind of like that kind of vibe. It's like, oh, we're in Atlantis now, and then we jump over to, oh, now we're stopping Nazi crabs from destroying New York.
Yeah, Metropolis, wherever the hell they were supposed to be at. Well, at first I was like, they were just in the Bermuda Triangle. Like, wouldn't they be like at Florida now? Like, yeah, but nobody cares about Florida. We're going farther.
I think that'd be cool to actually the idea of them fight because that's you never see them fighting like in Miami or anything like that. Like in 1940s art, because all that was very Art Deco like architecture. So the idea of them fighting in a 1940s Miami. I think that sounds like a cool idea.
Yeah, because it would have made more sense because they were literally just right there in the Bermuda Triangle. Like, why are they going so far north? I kind of thought that's the only thing that kind of threw me off a little bit. But that's like a small complaint. Like, there's a little too much travel going on there. I think it's unnecessary. But yeah, you could have had a little bit different look. But yeah, it is really like I think that's kind of the neat thing though is it's like it stays like multiple pictures at once, not just straight up. Even though it's in the title, it's World War II. It's not straight up that. And this is the other thing I will say. This movie, like, I like how. This is something that started, like, I noticed it, like, about the last 5 years, is that we'll get World War II stuff, and people will pull swastikas out of it. And it's like, dude, are you serious? Like, you're fighting Nazis. What do you expect to see in the background, like, when you're at a Nazi bunker? And this one still keeps them in there. Like, they even, in the Blood Rain remasters, they took out the swastikas in that game. It's like, dude, you're playing a mature-rated, you know, gory video game. Like, why would you take the swastikas out of there? You know what I mean? Like, that's part of the aesthetic of it. Like, I think that's like that thing where, like, you don't want to do that weird thing where you go, like, hey, let's try to erase history, you know, because it's like, that becomes the whole problem is if you erase things like that and so on, you don't tell people like straight up like what's going on here. Like you it's like
Hawkman died fighting Nazis, and now you want to take that away.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, oh, well, he was just killed by, well, I don't know, put the plus sign up. You know, people, a plus sign's not offensive to anybody. Because that's like a lot of times what you'll see like in certain like things where it's like, oh, turn that, if you just shave the sides of the swastika off, it's a plus sign, It's positive.
I feel like, yeah.
So I'm glad this one doesn't like, it's like, no, they're like, no, it's fuck you. It's Nazis, and that's who they are. That's who we're fighting. We're not going to try to like, and I've even seen it like certain things where like they almost kind of like tiptoe around even calling them Nazis. Like, they're bad Germans. Yeah, bad. No, well, let's not call them Germans. That might be offensive too. They're misguided Germans.
I feel like it's one of those things where I feel like this wasn't trying to do anything like too deep. It just like, yeah, Nazis are bad. Now let's have this adventure story. But it was more like all the small. I'm not trying to sound like an art school student here or anything, but it was more like the small little camaraderie they would have with one another. Like, I felt like each character felt really well defined of the team. Mm-hmm. I was a little sad we didn't have Sandman, Starman, or Dr. Midnight.
Yeah.
But I get there's only so many characters you can do, because it's not like they've all had a movie leading up to this. It's like, okay, we have this many characters. We then got to get across all their baggage and all their details, and then we still got to have an emphasis on Flash and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, it's one of those ones, like, because I will say that's the thing, is that they do throw in more of the heavy hitters, and there's just a couple of, like, the kind of the oddball characters, like, you get Hourman, which, like, that's almost, like, one of the coolest parts, because you just, like, I don't think I've ever seen Hourman in any of these DCU movies.
He was in, I haven't seen it, but I saw him in promotional work. I think he's in that, there's that Stargirl show that was on the DC universe.
I was talking about the animated ones, not like just...
Oh, animated. Yeah. Well, no, I haven't seen him. Maybe he was like in the background in Justice League Unlimited or something. But like, I don't think I've ever seen him in any of this stuff either.
Yeah, so, yeah. It's one of those ones. So the idea of having him in there, that's kind of a cool character. Because, I mean, he's like one of those, like, sort of like... he almost reminds me of, like, the DC version of like creating the super soldier serum, but it only lasts. I like the idea how there's like a timer on it. Even though it doesn't really do it much in this movie, but it's like the fact that it's like, hey, you get this super strength and powers, but it's only going to last an hour. So it's almost like how long can your body like hold out on this?
The only thing there's like, I guess there's two. I guess spoilers ahead. There's only like really two things with this movie that, and one of them's the first one's not even a problem. It's more of a preference. Mm-hmm. I wish this movie was a little longer. That way we get more of a chance to expand on more of these characters. Characters like Hourman. I feel like I got the gist of him while we were there, and it was interesting, and he was a good character. But I would have liked to see more of them, and maybe that would have given us time to even have like one or two more characters on the team. Black Canary.
I was going to say, it's funny, though, because this movie's like one of the longest DCU ones at the same time, too. It's because it's like an hour and 26 minutes, when like the normal ones are like an hour and 10, give or take.
Yeah, I just feel like the average, not the average DCU movie, but the average superhero movie by now is like 2 hours to 2.5 hours. So I feel like that in these movies, in these animated ones, they're able to get so much information in there. There's just something on animation, we're able to condense info.
Yeah.
And they're able to get so much in there. I'm like, God, if only they had like another 20 minutes to really flesh this thing out. This thing would be probably better than like... I still think this is better than the majority of the live-action superhero movies that come out. So that's someone who likes a lot of those. Mm-hmm. I was going to say, there's another example I was going to make.
Black Canary?
Oh, Black Canary, I thought she was awesome. I liked how she was basically like... She's kind of like one of the things that remind you, this is kind of like Dirty Dozen. Like, she's almost like doing this to shave off some time off her prison sentence for getting into bar fights all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think that's a cool concept right there. So I like how they're this weird ragtag team that's off the books, and she's the one who's a little like disenfranchised with everything. The other thing that I have a little bit of a problem with, and I understand this goes into the time aspect that I was talking about, I think it's cool they're fighting Aquaman at the end, because Aquaman is taken over by Psycho Pirate. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way to do that. But when Aquaman snaps out of it, he's just like, what have I done? Oh no! And goes back to the ocean.
I love how he's just like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah! He's like, oh fuck! Call the porpoises! Call the porpoises! Brrr! He just hops on one, gets the fuck out of there.
It's
drive! So,
I don't know why, but this kind of reminds me because there's another moment in this one where they just fucking leave, like literally like. And I know this goes towards the end, but like when Barry's stopping the bullet that's gonna kill Superman from Brainiac and whatnot, and then like when he goes back in time at the very end and he like spins that bullet around and just shoots and blows Brainiac's brains just pure out. I mean, I know they're robot brains, but still, let's be honest, he just blew his brains out, and then Superman's like, "Yo, let's get the fuck out of here!" Like, I don't deal with corpses.
Brainiac, I feel like you can get away. Go, well, he's a robot. He's not like, a real person.
Dude, Flash, shit. Because it's almost like most ones, nobody's really a team. It's like I met this guy like the other day, you know, like we happened to be next to each other in a urinal, and he said that he had powers, and you know he's getting a little uncomfortably close, telling me his backstory. How his dad's in jail.
He may be the fastest.
If you know I can shake it out. I mean, like there's no touching involved. I can just vibrate my hands fast enough.
That's the thing about Barry. He's the fastest man alive. He's not the fastest at picking up social cues.
But it's just like all those ones I just thought, like, it's just sitting there just like, oh, shit, dude, you just... Like, dude, that guy's brains are all... I mean, I know they're robot brains, but they're all fucking... let's get the fuck out of here, man. Like...
I think there is a point, because, you know, usually they have the we don't kill, especially when Bruce is around, we really don't kill. But every so often, there are those things where there's a guy on the team that kills... And he kills a few people, and even Batman's like, I don't got time to go over every little guy he kills. You know, so it's like, what was it? There was, like even Superman. Granted, this is an alternate universe Superman, and it is also, back in the 40s, I believe he did kill Nazis. So, when Superman's just stomping on each, like, you know, like... Plane, like he's playing hopscotch, like fuck you, you know.
Yeah, he's just brutally murdering people left and right. It's like I always just I hate to say it, but I'm like, you know, these guys didn't know what they were signing up for. They're like, oh, okay, I gotta go fly a plane. Cool, at least I won't be on the ground. Didn't realize there was gonna be a Superman up there, fucking like Super Marioing our like, fucking ships, like we're
stomping on our ships like we're fucking Goombas.
Yeah,
and then like so that's like one of those things. That's one of those things where like, you know what? Even if we were gonna make a thing of it, it's Superman. What the fuck can we do? You know? So I feel like every so often they just do that thing where like, let's just Steve's on the team and he can kill people because he doesn't have superpowers. So of course Steve can kill people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No.
The only thing is, I feel like Aquaman kind of got the shaft near the end because he didn't get a moment of redemption. He was just the guy they were fighting. He got snapped out of his little days, and then after that, it was more of like, oh fuck, what have I done? People don't like fish people now, and leaves. I think that there could have been a moment where he got snapped out of it, and then he turns on Psycho Pirate and goes, motherfucker, or like helps them take down the Nazis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because it kind of just sort of like, yeah, he just kind of bails, you know, and it's like, well, yeah, people, you know what people are going to remember? They're not going to remember the Nazis showing up. They're going to remember all the fish people showing up.
Yeah. Dude, did you hear Nazis came by the fucking Coney Island? Who gives a fuck about Nazis, dude? A fucking crab man was going through, ate my fucking aunt the other day. Oh, shit, really?
Yeah.
Fuck, no, I don't give a shit about the Nazis. We gotta worry. We gotta team up with the Nazis and stop the Atlanteans now. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. It's just gonna all switch sides now because they're like, oh, shit, fuck these crab people.
Aquaman goes back down to his palace and he's trying to like, he's like this giant palace and he's just in there by himself pacing back and forth like fuck, you know, just trying to like think of an excuse, like hands behind his back of his head, like shit.
Yeah, totally, just one of those ones like that. But
no, that wasn't me. That was my dickhead brother Orm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know the records say he was in jail the whole time, but still.
He's crafty, that asshole. What can I tell you?
Yeah. But yeah, the other thing too, it's kind of interesting is they even just have like moments too where like like they'll do sort of like kind of ballsy things in here too, like they kill Hawkman. Now I know like Hawkman's like one of those kind of guys you can kind of kill. He's like, well, he'll just get reincarnated as somebody
Dying's
else.
his thing, sort of. Aside from being a Hawk man, dying is kind of his other thing.
Because
Yes.
he'll get reincarnated. It's okay. Like when do those reincarnations run out? Oh, I don't know. They didn't give me an expiration date on them yet.
Yeah.
But even still, it's like I feel like you kind of get some of these characters kind of going off, and they give them sort of like the moment of like, oh shit, it's going down, or even like you got Steve Trevor, like and he the whole time he's like, oh, I'm just trying to propose to Wonder Woman, and I'm the dude here who's got no powers, but I still like find a way to kick ass and like kind of like grounded in reality. But even him towards the end, it's like, dude, he gets impaled and whatnot, and it's just like, oh shit, Steve Trevor's going down. It gives a nice moment.
No, I think that's definitely a case too. Black Canary has that moment with Hawkman, even where that's also the other thing now. Now the really popular thing is to kill off Steve Trevor. For a while, it was like he's always there. He's always with Wonder Woman. That's like they might have an on and off thing once in a while, but he's always there. But now the thing is, well, we got to make Wonder Woman sad, so we got to kill Steve.
Yeah, well, I feel like they do that, and they started that thing because I don't know if there's just people out there that go like, isn't it kind of weird that Wonder Woman just dates a regular fella? I mean, she's Wonder Woman, you know what I mean? I think it's the same way that some people look at Superman and Lois Lane. They're like, yeah, but Lois Lane's just a regular person. Like, shouldn't he have someone more wondrous?
I think I can understand doing that for a while or doing little miniseries, but at the same time, I kind of get like, it's the, oh man, like she sees something. Like, both Superman and Wonder Woman see something in both, like Lois and Steve. They're like, wow, they kind of surpass most people in one weird way or the other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And but there's another example. Like, there's been a thing recently, like not just in like in the comics, like characters who maybe they die at some point, but they've been alive for majority of the series, have been dying off as just because we need some kind of emotional arc. Like Jonathan Kent has been like, you don't want to be like like anytime there's like a new like Superman show or movie, it's like you don't want to be Jonathan Kent because he's just gonna fucking die before he even has a chance to be Superman, it seems, because it happened in Man of Steel. I want to say it happened in a couple of the DCU movies, not all of them, but a couple of them.
I feel like they always just want to Uncle Ben him a lot more. They're like, because it's like one of those ones. I actually personally like it. The Superman stories where Jonathan Kent's still alive. Like I think that almost seems more. Superman seems like the kind of guy who's like, no, my family's perfect. Like they're still together. They're at home right now baking a cake. Like I feel like that works. I don't think Superman needs like the tragic like fucking like Daredevil types like upbringing or anything like that. Because I feel like that's the difference between Superman and like other people. It's like he doesn't really have that tragedy in life. Like life was pretty fucking good, and he just wants to do more good.
That's one thing Lois and Clark was actually probably more accurate about than other comic adaptations. Maybe not everything else, but the fact that Martha and Jonathan are still there. And like I started watching that new show, like Superman and Lois, and I like it for the most part. The kids are a little kind of oh shit. Do you have to have the fucking whiny, emotional kids that like, there's a part where they realize their dad is Superman. Like, well, Dad, you may be the best superhero in the world, but you sure as hell weren't sitting here to be a parent. He's like, oh, it's like, get fucked.
That sounds terrible. Is that what is that? Is that like a live action show?
Everything else on it's a CW show and it's on HBO Max, but everything else, like the dynamic between Superman and Lois, the action is all really good. Even the dynamic between Superman and General Lane, like all that stuff's great. And the idea of like they go to they move back to Smallville after Martha dies. I was gonna make my point that Jonathan dies before the show even starts. He just have a little. I was raised in Smallville. The one day my dad died.
Slips a banana
Superman.
peel down the stairs.
Dies out in the street of a heart attack. Just abrupt, like just walking down the street, just falls over dead.
Yeah, just
then I decided to put on a cape. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like when they're alive. I think that's always been the better Superman stories.
And this, they've also been saving Superman. I know, like last episode when we were talking Mortal Kombat, I'm like, why do they keep on hiding the shit that we know is already there?
Mm-hmm.
Like why are we saving up like Scorpion till the very end of the movie? I'll say I understand why you kind of save Superman towards the end, because I think Superman's already in so many things.
Yeah.
And he also, I think this would be all a lot easier with Superman. And on top of that, I kind of like, Superman was a bonus for me. I didn't think he was going to be in this.
Yeah, I actually didn't. It's one of those ones that they didn't slap Superman on the cover. I don't really remember him in any of the teaser trailers or anything like that. You know, I mean, maybe he was there for a split second with that future scene, but like, I liked how, like, yeah, they kind of pull him out, because I will say, like, a lot of times when it does come to like real war and you have superhero characters there, sometimes, because it's even like when Wonder Woman, even like, people just love this, but when she's fighting just the regular like German soldiers and so on like that, like, it's one of those ones people just love that, but it's just like you're literally just watching a god just beat on these poor fucking guys that did not know that was what they were fucking signing up with 4 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Shit, they needed a fucking job, and this is what they got.
There is that thing, because, you know, there is that thing where, you know, it's understandable and it's easy to be kind of like make every Nazi like a horrible blood-sucking monster in every movie. It's understandable and it's reasonable.
But it's one of those ones I feel like, I look at that and I go, that is a regular guy. That could have been
That's
any
the point
of
I was
us.
going to make, though. I was going to say there are those points, though, where there were guys that were drafted, and from there, it's like, you know that there's the guy like, holy shit, Klaus, I didn't even want to go. Klaus talked me into being, I got drafted anyway, and here I am. Now I'm fighting some lady who's like 8'5" with a fucking shield, like backhanding me into a fucking window that's like 20 feet away.
Yeah, well, that's what I just think about. Like, some of these guys, it's like, you never know. It got to the point where it's like, hey, I need a job. I'll take anything. I feel like one of those ones, like, it's like those poor guys get desperate. I don't look at it. I don't look at those guys as technically villains. I just feel those guys just signed up for the wrong job that they didn't know what they were getting into. We've all started a job where you thought it was going to be something different, and the next thing you know, you're there and you're like, shit, this is not what I want to be in. That's just not to the extreme.
I did not know the train was going that direction. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just one of those ones. Like, whenever I see those scenes, I just like, I have it the other way around, where everybody's like, yeah, fuck, he's beat up on Nazis. I just go, those poor bastards, those poor guys. I feel like I'm just like one of those ones. Like, it's like looking at like that, you know, whenever you see anybody who just has a really shitty job, and you're just like, I feel so bad for that guy. Like, he didn't want that in life. I know it. He just was dealt a bad hand.
I'll say this: if you end up in like movies, I get why we're killing that.
I get like the overallness, like, is the villain, but I just, when it gets down to like the ground, like the blue collar ground level, you know what I mean? Like those poor bastards. That's what I always just think of.
The guy who's just like, I didn't sign up for this shit.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those. I mean, it goes for any side in any war. There's the poor bastard conscripts that, yeah, they just did not know what they were getting into, no matter what it is.
And then like, here comes fucking Superman, like playing hopscotch on your fucking plane.
Yeah, well, it's like in The Watchmen, you know what I mean? When you get like the poor like Viet Cong guys, they didn't know that there was just gonna be a naked blue guy vaporizing them. Like, they didn't sign up for that.
No, you see a giant blue dick swinging, like, knowing that's your death.
It's the last thing you see before you're vaporized.
Yeah.
And then you know that there's going to be some comedian guy that's going to get your, like, sister pregnant and then not care but to take care of her.
While Smashing Pumpkins song plays in slow-mo behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
no, that's something that this movie does a pretty good job of just... Even though it's a World War II story, it's a superhero story, it goes directions you don't expect it to go. Mm-hmm. Like, how for a minute it almost kind of becomes like Where Eagles Dare. We're like, okay, we got to go in, we got to save Dr. Fate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they got him strapped up to, like... I like even level there's, like, the torture device where it's just, like, in Flash looks, he's like, that's not what I think it is it? Where it's just, like, the guy would just be hanging out there strapped up with his nuts hanging down for God knows what.
Yeah. Well, then there's also the other part where that same area. Well, when they first realize who Shakespeare really is, I didn't even put together that was Clark Kent. For a minute, I thought that maybe, because I don't remember his alias, I don't remember his names. There's been more than one Dr. Fate, but for a minute, I thought maybe that was Dr. Fate, and the bullets didn't kill him because, you know, it's fate that he lives longer or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then when he said his name was Clark Kent, I was like, oh, never mind. There goes that theory. or I thought it was somebody else. I didn't think it was going to be Superman right off the bat, even though Barry says, "You look familiar," and who else has he interacted with? You know,
It's not Iris, so
yeah,
by lodging out anything else it could possibly be, it's got to be him. Well, there was like that weird like boy that was just sitting on the bed like holding the package, and he had like the Superman costume in there, like, which I really still not too sure. How does that boy have that costume? I was wondering that the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, Timmy, hold on to this for me. I might need it someday.
Well, I thought it was also interesting. They also were trying to make it be like, aside from having the vibe of kind of like, a '70s World War II movie, it also had like the opening was even kind of like a 1940s style or 1950s style World War II movie, where just kind of like the opening credits and the way it all looked,
Yeah, because it went for like real old school, like the ones that you see like almost like the World War II movies that are made during World War II. Like that kind of style of movie, or even like the ones that sort of follow right afterwards, like the John Wayne ones and so on, like The Longest Day and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I like that kind of aesthetic that they had to it. That they just kept it real. Like the thing is like they just treated it like really like you were almost making like I know it's in a sense not really like what it was, but it almost reminded me like it was meant to like sell to like your grandparents almost. Even though I know that still was like pushing it, but like it kind of had just that feel like no, we're not gonna try to like weenie around this or any of this kind of stuff. Like, it's going to be a full-on, it's like a World War II movie and so on, and then just the stakes just get kind of higher and higher as it goes on, and then, then it becomes kind of like a kaiju movie, but, that works out.
Well, I even like how Our Man, he's like, I don't give up. We don't surrender. We're American.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is I liked how it brought back a lot more, like, the American spirit. Like, even at the very end, like, when Barry Allen's like, truth, justice, and the American way, I'm like, shit, they haven't said that in, like, 10-plus years, if not even longer than that. Like, because for some reason, like, it was, like, bad for Superman to be American for the longest time. And it's like, I'm glad that actually came back, because I'm like, no. That is who Superman is. He's literally all American. That's who him and Jonathan Kent and all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, because like those American values is like that's how you get to like where you are today, anyways. You know what I mean? Like that I'm glad that came back. I felt like that was a very big thing to sort of have. It's just like, no, it's Superman. It's like Captain America. It's like one of those ones, like, you wouldn't want to take away the America of Captain America, would you? It takes away, like, from what the character is. He's supposed to be, like, in a sense, he's like the Hank Hill, the best American you could possibly be.
Now I just want, like, Hank Hill, like, dressed as Captain America, sitting with, like, Boomhauer, who looks like Thor.
Like the Avengers.
Like, Dale looks like Iron Man.
And Bill's got to be Thor, or Hulk, I mean.
Yeah, Bill's got to be Hulk. Yeah.
Because,
Boomhauer's got to be... Well, actually, I guess Boomhauer...
No, Boomhauer would definitely be... he would definitely be...
Thor. Tony Stark. I'm just thinking...
I feel... Dale would be Tony Stark, because he's got, in a sense, it's not like is that, but he's got the computer and all that stuff. I know, but he's almost the technology guy compared to everybody else.
Well, I guess he's a conspiracy theorist, and Tony Stark's always super like paranoid. So,
yeah, so I feel that would make sense there. But yeah, no, I love the American spirit it was not afraid to have in this movie, in a sense. I mean, I know that kind of comes with the territory when you make a World War II, like, when it's on the American side movie, it's not like you're doing it from, like, well, it's no different than, like, when you do it from, like, the Russian side. You get the Russian spirit or something like that, but,
Yeah. If there were some characters that you wish could have made it into it, which ones would you go with?
Well, I would have liked to see just a little bit more of some of the Justice Society characters, like Dr. Midnight or something like that. Because I will say, it's like, I mean, when you do kind of look at it on, like, the cover basis, it works, but you literally have two Flashes in here. Like, yeah, I'll say this, for the movie itself, it works. The way that they kind of get it. Like, I remember when I first was looking at it just from the beginning, I'm like, do we really need Barry Allen in here? I mean, like... Can we just go with Jay Garrett, like, and just call it, like, good? Like, that's our Flash? Because he gets screen time, but he doesn't get nearly as much screen time as other things, Or it almost makes you kind of wonder, like, you could have, like, the old school Green Lantern in there and so on like that, too. I mean, I feel it's fine, like, having Wonder Woman there, like, that's, like, our gateway character. So I got no problem with those kind of ones there. I feel like you need at least one big character so that you can sell it on, like, the stands at the store, But I do kind of wish there was a little bit more, like, because it really, at the end of the day, it's like Our Man's the only real, like, I feel like that's the only real main character that's kind of like, oh, here's something you don't normally see, because Hawkman, he appears in all the Justice League stuff anyways, I mean, I know that's like a Justice Society character, but you see him quite often, We see, of course, even just like Flash and so on, like even the Jay Garrett Flash, he's there quite often. Superman, Wonder Woman. Who the hell else am I forgetting? Black Canary. I mean, Black Canary, just because of Green Lantern's popularity, or not Green Lantern, Green Arrow's popularity, we see quite a bit of her, nowadays too. So it's like, it felt like really Hourman was the only real, like, big, like, oh, here's our one unique character in a sense. Not saying I don't like all the other characters, because they're all great, and for the story and everything else about it all totally works out. But it would have been kind of neat to see just a little bit more obscure characters to sort of take the place of almost some of these other characters. I mean, even like having Aquaman there, like, once again, it totally works for the story, and I didn't actually expect him to be there, but Aquaman once again is one of your top 10 characters.
I think it would have been cool if they had like someone like Enemy Ace there, because that's that German soldier who ends up turning on the Germans and helping out the Allies. I think it would have been cool if he was there. If they had maybe like some more, maybe like a villain or two, other than, because essentially there's no real big villain for them to fight.
No, Psycho Pirate's like really like your only sort of villain. And all he is he's like Jafar in like Aladdin, where he just kind of like controls whoever he's with.
Like maybe, I mean, Captain Nazi might be a little too on the nose, but I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to have like some of those old villains you haven't seen in a while, or maybe, you have like Golden Age Icicle there. It's like, hey, what can I say? They pay well.
Or why isn't Sergeant Rock even in here?
Sergeant Rock would be good.
I mean, I know he had his little short movie, but like, I felt like there was just some, because even I'll see this, even Captain Nazi. Okay, that first scene when Wonder Woman shows up and is kicking everybody's ass, that would have been the perfect place to have him in there, just for like a brief moment, and that was it. I mean,
that's
I
all
know
you need him for.
I know now it's getting to like sort of like the armchair directing and so on. And I mean, like, here's the thing. I think the movie itself is pure solid for what it is. It hits like on everything and so on. And I know that like, for the average Joe going in who's not like the hardcore DC fan or something like that, like this movie would still give you like all that kind of like extra stuff that would add to like your knowledge and so on. And it's not saying anything like that, but I feel like this is kind of like the place where, boy, there's some of these extra characters that like you never know where to plug them in. This is where you'd plug them in at, but we only get a couple of them in a sense.
No, yeah. No, I think that this one right here is a really is probably one of their best ones, and I can't really think of I guess I could sit here and say I wish they had this character, I wish I had that character, but what they did with the characters they had, I can't really complain. The only one I can kind of slightly complain about is Aquaman being like, oh no, what have I done, rather than getting a moment to come out and do his part and like, help out,
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those ones, like, as I said, like everything kind of works, but you almost do kind of go like, man, you could almost just switch some of these things around just so you could use almost a little bit more. Because I felt like we already have Wonder Woman's our gateway character. We really don't almost need any other gateway character. I guess Flash is our other one there too, and it's just one of those ones. But beyond those, it's like I feel like you could almost use any other characters for some of these ones here and just get like a more obscure one. And and you're fine. I feel like that's about all you sort of need is that one, whether it be Superman, Wonder Woman, or Batman. When you got one of the Trinity, you're good to go for getting people in the door.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like, I mean, we can say how much we like this movie for X, Y, and Z, but the reason they probably had like Wonder Woman was to help sell it to people who are a little on the fence about it. And then B, they also probably had Flash there. Like, maybe I recognize him, but at the same time, to kind of give when... Because now this stuff... Before, it'd be like, these are... Maybe not everybody sees these movies, but they're a lot easier to come by from what they used to be. Before, you'd have to... A mom would probably get it for their kid, thinking it was a kid's movie. Or they might just Redbox it, or they just might have it on, like, HBO Max, like, in 3 months, Well,
as I say, by having them... I mean, now this one's not on HBO Max yet, but by having pretty much, like, the general collection of them on there, I think that's kind of what's made them easier to watch. Because, like 10 years ago, it's like, if you didn't buy it on Blu-ray or DVD, you weren't able to really see these movies. So they were totally made for, like, the hardcore fan. So, like, the casual fan, like, he's like, well, I'm not going to go spend $20 on one of these things, so I probably won't end up seeing it. But now that you can kind of see them a little bit easier, I think that kind of, there's a lot of people out there that generally, like, not saying they don't like comics, but, like, maybe they're not into it as hardcore, but they'll run across these movies at least as time goes on.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the point I was going to make. I think that now that streaming services are a thing, it's a lot easier for someone to be like, you know what, I'll check and see what this cartoon movie's about. It's rated PG-13, it's rated R, so I'm kind of curious. I like I like the live action ones, so I can see people doing that. And then when the Flash movie comes out, and they're talking about Ezra Miller Flash hopping dimensions and bumps into Michael Keaton Batman, they're already kind of prepared for it because they saw something similar to that in this movie right here. So I think that's the reason Flash is there. To kind of help prepare people for what's going to happen. I mean, it's coming down to the point of like, you could really tell, like, maybe these movies don't happen because of that, but you could tell at least, because time, like, people change, ideas change, plans change. But I feel like a lot of stuff they do, you can see it. Obviously, it usually feels like someone teeing up for something. I mean, the next movie is Batman: The Long Halloween, and they're making it into 2 parts. Mm-hmm. That right there, aside from being a classic to fans, it's not like a visual thing that jumps out at you right at the bat. Like, if you just look at the trailer to that, which I still want to see it still looks good, it doesn't really pop like other things. At first glance, it just seems like another Batman story if you don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
But I feel like when people see that, and they're going to see the connections and the similarities to the Batman with Robert Pattinson when that comes out, because apparently that's pulling heavily from Long Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that all this stuff is always kind of like testing the waters or preparing people for what's going to come next.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of times what the DCU's almost like, it sounds weird, but it's like the creative focus team of like, okay, we got something coming out, we need to prep people for it, or we need to see if this kind of works, and I think that's a lot of times kind of how they do it. Or they'll do it the other way around too. I feel like something like, I'm going to use like with like Constantine, where they're like, well, we lost our Constantine show, but the people that did watch it, because it was on CBS on like a Friday night, really did like it, so we're going to kind of make a couple other little Constantine things here that kind of have that character continue on, at least in animation form. But, the Long Halloween, I felt like that was the one. I knew that was going to come at some point but that's like that's like your big card that you can play. I mean, like Hush, Killing Joke, of course, Dark Knight Returns. Like, these are all like the big Batman books. And this is kind of like that, almost like that last of the really big ones of like the last, like, I guess you would say 40 years that they haven't done yet. And it's cool that they are actually going for it and going to do it in a 2-parter. Because I felt like that was the sort of thing about Hush, is Hush should have been a 2-parter as well, too. I felt like, I mean, granted, that's like one of those books because you got Jim Lee artwork in it, and even though it's 12 issues long, so much of that artwork's so huge and big, it makes the story, I think, flow a little bit quicker than saying that, like, if it's broken up into more panels and so on like that. But still, beyond that, though, that could have been, like, a big 2-parter epic thing and so on. But it does seem like in this one, they are going to stick closer to the story, but then it almost seems like in the second one they're going to try to do their own thing, which I'm always so iffy about that. Like, I don't know why they always want to sort of like, they feel like, hey, well, we're doing an adaptation, we got to throw a surprise in there. Like, maybe you don't need to do a surprise. I
feel like it's a give and take. I think they're going to change the identity of the Holiday Killer or something.
I think so.
Because it's not just Alberto Falcone. It's Falcone. It's also Gilda was helping with it too. And Harvey was gonna start at some point. I remember how it all worked exactly. But it's one, because Long Halloween is one of my favorite stories, and I'll be 100% honest, I haven't read it like in over 8 years, and every so often I'll pick it up and like flip through it and read favorite parts of it. But I really got to pick it up again. Looking at it, granted it's a 2-parter, so maybe some of the things I'm thinking of don't come into later half, and even though Long Halloween is more recognized, Dark Victory and Long Halloween are both connected together, and they almost feel like the same story to me to some extent, because it's a mystery killer again, same type of setting. And I think I might like Dark Victory just as much as Long Halloween, even though people might say it's kind of retreading similar ground. I think that Long Halloween, like, just looking at the movie, it looks a little bit more simplified, because I'm not seeing all the villains. Now, maybe a lot of those villains I'm thinking of, maybe that's in the later half that I'm not remembering as well, or at least the order of the events, because I remember you also have, I think, Penguin for a second. I think Mr. Freeze is in there, because there's at some point when Harvey Dent embraces he's Two-Face, and he coordinates all the villains in there, to go and kill, I think, Falcone. I think that's what happens.
And you have that really cool ending shot to one of the issues where they're just all sitting in the room together
In the desk.
and a big old splash page. Yeah. So it's like,
yeah, you had Scarecrow, you had like nearly every major villain out at the time, and you had you had Solomon Grundy, who is definitely in this movie. You had Scarecrow. I think you had Mad Hatter. He's definitely in.
Yeah, Mad Hatter was in
Night.
there. Joker was in there. Killer Croc. Because Poison Ivy, because that was the nice thing about Long Halloween is I feel like if someone said like, hey, I want to get into Batman and know more, that always felt like the book. You pass them that book, and that's a very good this will catch you up on all the general basics of kind of like what Batman is, how the Batman stories kind of go, the major characters, and so on. Like I feel like that one is a very, very good book just to be like, here, if you like this, you'll probably be able to dive into more Batman things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I pulled up that splash panel, and it's not as big as I remember it being, but still, there's I guess these characters could all fit into 2 movies. It's Catwoman, Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, Penguin, Harvey Dent, Joker, Solomon Grundy, and Mad Hatter. Maybe Mr. Freeze pops in for a minute, or maybe Mr. Freeze is in Dark Victory. I don't remember, but I remember there's a biggest.
I almost don't think Mr. Freeze is in this, but then again, there's some of those ones because the thing is, it's 12 issues long. He might appear just in 1 issue.
Yeah, well, Mr. Freeze also. I just remember seeing him in Tim Sale's art style. That's all, but that could have been another book, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I just hope they don't try to. I hope they just don't try to make it too ridiculous with whatever their twist is. You know what I mean?
Well, because it's I'll say this, it's kind of like I'm gonna use Hush as the example as one of them, but you could almost even say also with the Killing Joke. But it's with Hush, it's the thing is when they switched up that ending in that one, and then you're kind of like, oh, you went with Riddler. I mean, I guess I wasn't expecting to see that, but that
it
also
makes sense for the story, because I guess even when reading Long Halloween, Thomas Elliot was telegraphed from a mile away.
Yeah. I mean,
But
well, yeah.
Mr. Freeze pops in Dark Victory. That's what he pops in.
Okay, yeah. Or it's sort of like how even in the Killing Joke, how they added in that Batgirl sort of different type of origin that, or not origin, but story in there that really had nothing to do with it. You almost could have just done just the Killing Joke and called it a day. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like they always have this feeling when it comes down to the real big books that they have to do something of their own flavor in there. And it's almost like one of those ones you know what? The book is already so solid as is. And here's the thing. The people that are generally also going to be, they might not have read the book anyway. So it's it's going to be brand new to so many people as is, you know.
Yeah, I think I hope it's not too crazy or over the top. Whatever their twist is going to be, because even though I get it didn't kill it for me. It didn't really ruin it for me, but I guess the twist that Riddler was Hush. Well, Hush is his own character, and we've never seen him in animation before, and other than maybe the Arkham games, and even then he was only a side quest. So this was our opportunity to really see Hush, but at the same time, it's I get that the twist is telegraphed from a mile away, but at the same time, it's not. Riddler and Hush are 2 very different characters to me.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing. I wish there was another way to get that in there. And even if it wasn't Riddler, if it was somebody else. I mean, I watched Hush a few months ago, and I think that's still a really good movie.
Well, yeah,
but it didn't have that oomph that the comic had on me.
Yeah, it's not saying that movie's not good, but I felt because that's one of those ones, that's probably one of my favorite Batman books, and I feel the movie, though it still is good, it just kind of feels it almost has the feeling it was put on a made-for-TV 2-part episode series kind of thing, or 3-part episode series where it's just it just needed a little bit more to feel you know what I mean, just a little bit more, because that Hush is such a big book, and then the fact that it does kind of take away that. So once again, now we got the average Joe watcher is going to assume that Hush is the Riddler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For future reference, that's what you've established there, is that the average person doesn't realize that Hush is really his own character. They're just going to think it's just a Riddler costume.
There's that, and then there's also I was going to say, something I think it did a little better job of was focusing on the relationship between Batman and Catwoman, because if I remember correctly, they go on a few dates as Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle in the book, and then they end up having. Then he reveals himself, and from there on, and they're basically just working together. Any interaction they have together is in the suit.
Yeah.
Where in the Hush movie, there's like a montage of where they've been together for like a couple of months, and it feels really organic. It really does have an emphasis on the relationship. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah,
I really liked that. That was a good addition.
Yeah, that was a good expand that they kept. Well, because I think it's also at the time period that was like right coming off the Batman gets married to Catwoman storyline. So I feel like that's kind of where it started incorporating some of that stuff into there and so on. I'm not. Yeah, once again, I'm not saying that the Hush one's not still pretty darn good all in all, but like it felt like there was just a little bit missing from it that I hope that when it comes to Long Halloween they just almost nail it, kind of like in a sense how like. I mean, I know even with Dark Knight Returns, you know, there's a couple things in that one too where it's like, it doesn't have like the, you know, the Batman monologue or not monologue, but the narration.
Yeah.
You know, and so on like that, like, and it feels kind of weird without it, but it's still like at the end of the day, you're like, you know, it's still pretty darn solid. And that by the time the second one comes around in that, like, they have it going pretty well. So, no, I totally look forward to it. And once again, like, it looks like it's still kind of in its like part-way development process, you know, so who knows, that one might not be out for be interesting that because that one could be maybe not out
comes
for
out September or something, doesn't it, or August?
Oh, is that when it comes out? Because on the trailer
September.
it just has that thing like look for it. Yeah, you like Batman, you're a detective, you'll figure out where to find it at. You know
That's
what
all
I
we're
mean? We don't gotta give you a date, like. You know what I mean? Like, shit.
How much do you like Batman? How much do you want to be like Batman? We'll leave you with that. There you go.
Yeah, we're gonna make it real hard for you to find the movie, so it's like that's part of the game. But says that there, and then like, because I wonder if they'll space out like other movies in between like the two parts, because I can't remember.
Fuck! It's not like August. It's coming out in June. June 22nd.
Okay, well, that one's right around the corner then. Shit. Well, then again, like, they have been pretty jiffy on the spot and putting, like, a DCU movie out, like, at least every 3 months, like, in the last handful of years.
There was that period. I remember what year it was, but there was that period where they were, like, late, and we're almost kind of like... They almost were talking as if Dark Knight Returns was the last one. Like, we might be ending it on this, guys. Like, fuck. And they kept on putting more out. Like, oh, never mind. No, we're still going. So, well... June 22nd, probably, I mean, let's be honest. June 22nd for, like, digital retail.
Yeah, it always takes, like, 2 weeks for, like, the Blu-ray. And I feel like these are the kind of movies that, like, I wish that they would just release the Blu-ray at the same time because, like, that's where you get the full experience. You get all the extra additional scenes, you get the special features, you get the previews, you get even, like, the extra cartoons if you didn't have them and so on that go along with it. And then to top it off, like, the other thing that's actually, like, I feel like they've been doing really well is they put the shorts in there, which are like 20 minutes long. So by that standard, you're getting a really full package because they did the Kamandi one on the Justice League or Justice Society World War II one, and that thing was fucking sick. I liked it a lot.
Well, that's also, I think that we're talking about, how do I put this? The DC Universe movies seem to be, like you said, the group focus. Okay, how can we introduce people to these characters and still appease the fans? How can we kind of like lead in someone who doesn't really read the comics? Maybe they played the Arkham games, but they don't really keep up with it so much. How can we lead them in and kind of introduce like Red Hood to them? How can we introduce Flash universe hopping? How do we do that kind of thing? And then I think where they really go crazy and where they just fanboy out is these mini movies, because that's where there's a point where like, oh yeah, it's a mini movie. We're doing a fun little kind of Shazam maybe. Oh, we're gonna do maybe a Green Arrow one. Yeah. Now they're at the point where they're just like, okay, we're doing Sergeant Rock. We're doing Adam Strange. We're doing Last Boy on Earth. We're doing all these weird cut shit that will never, like, maybe they might get one single movie down the line, but they're never gonna have a series.
Yeah, well, that's what I like about them is like they've been able to do these, in a sense, stories that you know for a fact you could never just sell by themselves, you know. But hopefully, like the way I always kind of look at these ones is maybe it'll generate interest enough at some point. It hasn't yet, but to the point where you could be like, well, you guys want to see a Kamandi full length movie, you know?
Well, here's the thing about the Kamandi movie. I know of the character and I've seen him. I have like this big DC coffee book encyclopedia, and I know of him from there. He has like half a page in there, and then I've just seen like random covers here and there. So he's not really a big part of the continuity because I guess he's at the end of everything. So I know of the character, but I appreciate that even though they're going with this weird pool, they're saying, "Hey guys, just so you know, this is the DC universe. They're in Metropolis right now, the Great One that's prophesized." I mean, I saw, who else are they talking about? But the Great One is Superman, and they have a suit.
It'd be funny if there's just Batman up there with a bunch of ratchet straps, like, "I'm putting yours back together, guys." Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you?
What if it's like just something like the Great One who once saved us all, and it's like some real odd, it's like Vibe, some like real oddball character no one saw coming?
Or it's like a villain, like one of those ones, like where it's like, oh shit, the villain guy was the guy who was actually saving us, and now he's looked upon as like a great hero.
Yeah, something kind of like that. No, I think I really liked this one. I kind of aside from the movie itself, I always look forward to these shorts. These short, like the Phantom Stranger one was really cool.
Yeah, the Phantom Stranger father.
Yeah. God damn it, where are you going?
Yeah, I don't want you hanging out with these Charles Manson boys.
I just imagine that girl going out looking all dolled up, and like Phantom Stranger still in his fedora, still has like the shadows over his like eyes, so you only just see these white piercing eyes for the dark. He's just sitting there in the living room, like with a newspaper, just like, whoa, where are you going? Where are you going? He just like manifests in front of the door, like newspaper folded under his arm, like whoa. Now with all that makeup, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, these are the ones, like, I really do think that if they did just say, like, hey, this is going to be our next movie, and it's going to be an hour and a half long or something like that, these could be, like, those ones where you're like, oh my gosh, these could be so amazing. Because the thing is, too, it's like, I always feel like even the art style, because everything's kind of a little bit more experimental and hardcore in these ones, because, like, even the Kamandi one, like, the backgrounds in it, I love how they just gave them, like, that kind of, like, 60s, 70s actual comic book-looking backgrounds. And I feel like you could really easily do that and not, don't do that on, like, your characters, because nobody... You don't want to make that poor South Korean, guy have to draw that over 1,000 times. But for the backgrounds, it sells, like, it really, like, you can almost have the characters look the same as any other animation, but you get that background. That's what gave it, like, that total look, And then Kamandi is pretty much, it's like, in a sense, it's like the DC version of, like, I Am Legend or Omega Man or something like that, A Boy and His Dog, like that kind of, like, that new Fallout even for, like, the modern kids, like, that's almost like the one where, like, it's just kind of the cool concept of it. It's like, he's the last boy on Earth, you know what I mean? Like, and he has to live amongst, like, the Planet of the Apes people and, like, the rat people and, the Tiger Man, played by Steve Bloom.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that there was that period where DC was getting experimental because, like, you know what? Batman's taken off. We're going to do more superhero stuff down the line. Who's the guy that directed Mad Max again? George Miller?
Yeah, George Miller, yeah.
George Miller is going to be directing Justice League, so we should probably start doing things to introduce all these characters. Okay, let's have New Frontier, let's do Wonder Woman movie, let's do a Green Lantern movie, then after a while, like, only Batman, Superman, and Justice League. If you want to introduce another character, you want it to be their movie, it has to be disguised as a Superman, Batman, or Justice League movie.
Yeah.
And then it just became Batman, Justice League movie.
Yeah,
and then after a while,
Superman wasn't even selling.
And then after a while, they're like, you know what? Let's try to. What if we let's fuck it. I'm not sure if sales went up or if they got ballsy or what happened, but then when they're like, you know what? I mean, Teen Titans Go is selling, but let's do a fucking Teen Titans versus Justice League movie. You know what? Let's do Justice Society. They just started doing, like, weird, oddball things. And a lot of times when they were trying, like, characters we've seen a lot, they started just getting ballsy with it. I mean, the idea of, like, Justice Society is already itself kind of a ballsy choice. I know you have Wonder Woman in there. But the idea of, like, okay, they're in World War II, they're fighting Nazis. And then you also have Batman, Soul of the Dragon, trying to make it like a 70s exploitation movie.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it's I kind of like because the nice thing sort of was is even though don't get me wrong, I like these movies, but like when they were trying to do like the connected universe DCU animated movies, where I felt like they were just trying to, in a sense, sort of fall in the Marvel line and so on like that, and not saying that those movies aren't good and so on. I personally like when the DCU ones though, when each movie can be its own art style, its own take, its own dimension, its own. Because then I feel like the only downfall of those last ones, I felt like for 5 years straight or whatever it was, maybe it wasn't even that long, but like it was like they were all stuck in that same kind of art style, and it was the New 52 one, which is in hindsight just sounds hilarious for the fact that like so many people just don't like the New 52 one, and we were sort of stuck in that New 52, world. And the movies you knew were going to kind of continue, and you knew that like this is the voice actor is always going to be this person. This is how they're going to look. Wonder Woman's always going to have that kind of weird costume on the whole time. It took forever for her to get back in her normal costume again. I like how now it's like we've kind of gone back to like, no, we're just going to do the one-off movies, and we can just do really cool stuff now with it because of that.
I feel like they might be doing that again though, just because this has the same animation style as Batman. What was the last Batman?
Soul the Dragon?
Superman.
No, the Superman, like the Superman afraid of
forgot what it's
1950s
called.
horror movies. Superman.
Yeah, I forgot what that one's called. Superman. He's fighting Parasite and Lobo and Lex Luthor for a second.
I think really what that is more than anything else, because it has a similar style, but I think they just kind of
Unleashed. Superman Unleashed. I think
Superman Unleashed, but I think it's one of those ones like. That style just kind of like when they did that Superman one, they're like, oh, that actually looks really good as for animation. And it almost gave it like a much more comic book feel than almost kind of like a CG animated kind of you know what I mean, like CG 2D animated kind of look. Is like that one looked like almost like way more traditional style, and so I think they're just more carrying that look because it looked really neat. I don't think it's necessarily that like they're gonna start connecting all those together yet.
It could be that. It's just because maybe they're not going as much out of their way for it. But I'm just thinking they could be doing that because even in Superman Unchained, there's like articles and cutouts of like Bat in Gotham. Who is this?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get over to this movie, and Flash, he knows a Superman, but he doesn't know him that well. And then he goes back in time, and he's like, "Wow, this is why don't we have more superhero teams like this?" And he's going back. I'm like, "Oh, he's going in with the idea of starting up a league of some kind." And then we go to Batman, and we don't really, the movie's not out yet, so we don't know. But Long Halloween's in that same art style as those last two movies, and Superman and Justice Society. It could be a different Superman, but art style is the same, looks kind of the same. So who knows? I guess we'll find out as these go on, though.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of true because like, why would you have that whole future Flash section if that wasn't leading into something else? You almost could bypass that if you didn't want to. So that does kind of make sense there. Yeah, it's not the worst case thing, but it's like I don't know. I personally have always been that thing like I don't need everything to be so connected. I actually like just serialize, just one off sometimes. And maybe there's like, it's just like it's like almost like the way that like a classic 007 movie is. It's the same character going on, and the adventures are continuing, but you could almost kind of jump in anywhere. I always like that more than being like. Well, you got to watch these first 10 movies first, or else you're not gonna have any idea what the hell's going on.
The story kind of adjusts to like 007's kind of this thing. Like it could be in the 40s, it could be taking place today. It just it all depends on when the time frames is like the lens you're looking through it, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's even going back to that Hush one. I kind of forgot too because that one took place in the Batman, like that continued universe too, because they had to kind of archetype it to that as well. So that also kind of like made it feel like it was almost a little bit less Hush and more like, we're just sort of using Hush to kind of interweave to like what we sort of have going on at the moment,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I get what you mean. I didn't mind that they're all connected in that universe. Like I appreciated that they had here's our separate universe movies, here's our connected one. I think that in itself is good enough, but I just kind of wish that it didn't end because you get introduced to a character. You wouldn't see that character for a while. Next time you really see that character, they're either in the background somewhere or they're getting killed off in Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. Like we had a whole movie building up Aquaman, and then Aquaman just kind of a guy in the background, and then he's killed off like in a still shot in the beginning of Justice League Aquaman. Like, and you know it's gonna get set back to reset back, and time adjusted and all that. But it's just one of those things of like, yeah, but I mean, why are you gonna go out of your way to introduce these characters if you're not gonna really do anything with them? That was only my thing. And some characters we saw him do a lot with, like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, of course. But then there's other characters that really felt shafted, I thought. Like as soon as we met him, they're getting killed off. You know what I mean? Like, oh look, there's Steel. He plays a big part in this movie, but he's gonna die like nothing in the next one.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of like here and gone real quick and so on. And I don't know. At the same time, I feel like if you're just gonna do a straight up like animated TV show, like kind of like Justice League or something like that style, I think having that continue arc totally fine. Like I think it works there. But I feel like I think also especially when it seemed like there was only like 2 or 3 movies coming out a year, and then you kind of realize you're like, well, 2 of them are at least going to be the connected ones. So that means once a year we're only going to get that one experimental film. I felt like that was kind of it. Where now it seems like it's kind of nice being able to get like multiple experimental ones kind of in a row almost.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see where these ones go. But last couple of these have been really awesome. I mean, it's very rare that one comes out that I don't like. Like the only one that I didn't like was Deathstroke, and then beyond that, other ones were like, oh, this one wasn't as good as Justice League Fatal 5 was okay. Batman Ninja was weird but entertaining.
Yeah.
But majority of these always come out being pretty strong. So I look forward to what comes out next.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I always kind of feel. Because really, like the worst one, like I don't know, I always look at Batman Ninja. If that's probably the worst one, and it's not really like, it's not terrible. It's just kind of bizarre and weird. Yeah, and it's like if that's kind of like the worst one, like that's not so bad really, because that's still like better than a lot of other things out there. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's kind of how it is, But yeah, I look forward to whatever comes next, beyond just Batman Hush and whatnot, or not Hush, but a Batman Long Halloween, and then just go from there. So yeah, other than all that fun stuff, you can go to oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, comic books like Pizza Boys, and all that other good stuff. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes,
and I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
Hey, I'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.